Did a vehicle come from somewhere out there just to land in the Andes? Was it round and did it have a motor? Or was it something different? Oh, George, how do you sing that? Well, obviously I can't, but I'm not a singer, so that's okay, isn't it? Well, maybe you disagree, but I don't really care. Um, yeah, well, Frank Zappa wrote a song called Inka Road, so you may know it, and that's how it starts. Did a vehicle come from somewhere out there just to land in the Andes? Was it round? And did it have a motor? Or was it something different? I don't know how you make that scan, but there you go. I didn't write it. But great. It made me think anyway when I heard that. When I did hear it, it was quite a bit before I understood about Puma Punka and I can't think of the other place now. Something of the Sun, it's called. Anyway, but all the places that display these, that have these ancient, huge megalithic structures, very interesting to me, anyway. South America, North Africa, Turkey with Göbekli Tepe, and where else? Oh, the Middle East, of course. What was Persia, Mesopotamia? Yeah. Anyway, the who knows about these things? But I do remember being taught at school, primary school as well, that the pyramids were built for the mummified remains of the pharaohs, which, of course, we now I know that that is not true, and if you still think that is true, I feel sorry for you, really. I feel sorry for anybody who believes we still live on a spinning ball, that they can't see the truth. They can't see it. There's no curvature. When you know that, the rest of it just falls into place. There's no curvature, space is fake, and everything that you know or that you've been told by these so-called scientists is more or less, it's just nonsense. So that takes a bit of getting your head around, I must say. It took me a while, but it's a relief when you know it's, you don't have to, I don't know, you don't have to conform, okay? Well, I've never been really into conforming, but we all, as humans, we like to belong to a group. We don't, generally speaking, this is, we don't like to be out on a limb, or the lone figure walking in the rain. Or I'm being very melodramatic here, but you get what I mean, I'm sure. The army of one, like Bjork, the army of me. The army of one doesn't inspire, really. If you were there on your own, in a trench or something, in a foxhole, you'd really want your buddies around you. I know that's an extreme point I'm making there. I'm just babbling now, just babbling, blah blah blah. So I'll just tell you what I've been doing. It's 12:40 on a Saturday afternoon now. I've just come in for a cup of tea, which I'm spilling, and excuse me, and I've been out this morning digging a bit. You dig? Well, I do quite a bit. Um, so while I was digging, I've said this before, but I do find it quite. I know it's quite hard physically, but you're allowed then to, because it's so simple, you don't have to think really. It allows your brain, your mind, to go on a journey if you want. You can do anything you like with it, but you can think quite deeply about things and not be interrupted by looking for my tape measure or And because now I'm kind of retired, I when I was working full time, I used to have the radio on most of the time. If I could, the radio would be blaring out there. When I was younger, it'd be Radio 1. When I was older, it was Radio 2. And when I got a digital radio, it was 6 Music. And well, it doesn't matter what it is. I didn't like commercial radio, so I wouldn't listen to that nonsense, that rubbish anyway. But it was always the BBC, or very nearly always the BBC. And of course, they're one of the worst people to push the ball earth nonsense. They would, well, write down how many times, if you're a telly viewer or a radio listener, write down how many times you hear the word global in a day. And over a course of a week, I think you'd be quite shocked at how many times they actually refer to that. And that, of course, is just reinforcing the programming that we're all susceptible to. Some of us can recognize it now as just for what it is. But many, many people are still under the influence of this, Big Brother, or Auntie, as the BBC's called. Oh, he's a lovely term, isn't he, Auntie? Better than Big Brother, even though a Big Brother would be nice. I could have done with a Big Brother at times when I was at school, with all the skinheads. But I didn't have one. I had a big sister, but she was, quite a bit older than me, so she was. I don't think she'd be very good in a fist fight anyway. Although I don't know. She didn't beat me up when I was a child. We had a great relationship, actually, and still do. Although she, unfortunately, can't see that she's been deceived and won't allow herself to think that, I don't think. And her husband is worse than that. But anyway, I'm not going to get personal, because I still love them, of course. But anyway, it's quite distressing to. It's just like watching people go towards a. And of course, I'm being totally melodramatic here as well, but it's just like watching people go on a springboard, a diving board, towards the edge, walking, and instead of a swimming pool underneath them, it's like a big meat mincer. It's just going round and round, and they just drop in that, and as soon as they're into that, that's it. They've been claimed by the ball. I know it's a bit silly imagery, that, but to me, my family are still on the springboard. None of them have gone down into the mincer yet, and it's my responsibility. I feel that for me to save them, rescue them. But I can't just. Well, it's very difficult. Just let me say that it's not easy. But I'm not one to shy away from a challenge, that sort of a challenge anyway. And I have mentioned things, just hopefully planted a couple of seeds here and there in the mind. But anyway, time will tell. I don't for one moment think that they actually tune into this. Wait for the next installment from me on YouTube. And that's okay as well, because I don't do anything else but this online. I mean, I'm not involved in any other social media. This is it. And well, I haven't got time, and I don't want to do it. And I did start an account on Facebook. It's so many years ago now. It'll probably still be there, but I haven't touched it. So it will be at least 12 years ago. It'll be 12 years ago, yeah. So, so I'm a lost cause to them anyway now, I hope. I mean, to the social media people, not to my family. And the only person who I know that knows the Earth is not a spinning ball is my mother, because I have quite an influence on her, seeing her quite often, and talking to her about it. And I've done it just in increments, just suggested things to her, asked questions that can't be answered, like how come the atmosphere isn't just sucked, and I use that word sucked again, but how come the atmosphere and the water isn't taken by the vacuum? Oh, it's gravity. Oh, it's not gravity. Because gravity, the moon's gravity supposedly pulls the vast weight of the oceans towards it, and 6 or 7 or 8 meters of water over half of, well, the Pacific Ocean is half the ball Earth. If you've got a globe and you turn it one way, all you can really see on one side is the Pacific Ocean. There are a few little bits of rock around the sides and the edges and here and there in the middle there, but practically all of one side of the ball Earth, the fake ball Earth, is ocean, and the moon's gravity would pull that towards it to about 6 or 8 meters. Yeah. I can't, like I say, I'm a practical person. All I have to do is, sometimes I scribble things down, do a bit of a drawing if I'm building something, and then how do I get around that problem? And look, before I was a builder, I was I wouldn't say I was a mechanic, but I fiddled about with cars because I couldn't afford a car that ran properly. I had to buy an old wreck and do it up, and that's what I did for many of my cars. Were well, they weren't one colour. They were always two coloured, one being brown rust and the other being the original colour of the car, possibly. What I'm saying is I can apply practical situations in my mind and then realize them in reality, and a spinning ball doesn't work in my mind. And before, I just didn't think about it. You just get on with your life, don't you? Just switch the radio on, la 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 la, work away. earn the money, bring it home, pay your mortgage, whatever. And what a life. Stop. If you're doing that, stop it.